Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Paul. This is Christine. Christine is Linda's niece. Marcus asked us to share with you this afternoon. So why don't we pray first and just seek God's peace in this time. So Father God, just speak to us now. Comfort us in this time of hurt and loss. And help us to be joyous in remembering Linda and celebrating her life. And just give us the words to speak now, that we might all leave here with your comfort and your peace that passes all understanding. I pray in Jesus' name. So, Aunt Linda, as I knew her, we're gathered here to celebrate the very full and well-lived and yet short life of Linda Castillo. Although apparently there's some variations on the pronunciation of that last name that have come to light in recent months. But actually, all right, getting off script already. But first time I met Linda, Marcus, and Brendan was when I married this young lady 2.8 years ago, and they've involved us in their family ever since, and I'm extremely grateful for that. And when we were at West Point, which was a thrill to see Justin graduate, who I'd never met until we're hunting him down on the field, she's yelling Castillo, and I'm like, it says Castillo when you read it. So anyway, Marcus asked us to share somewhat of an eternal perspective on this day. So hopefully we can share some words of comfort. These earthly vessels we sit in here today are just that, vessels. The soul within us is what makes us who we are. This vessel sitting next to me is just that. Linda is not here. There's a lot of friends and family here today. There's a popular saying that family are the people you're born with. And we've been fortunate in that, and friends are the family that you choose. So I guess we're all family in that case. This certainly is a sad time, and we weren't planning this day. As we came here from the other coast of Florida, I was planning on being back there running that video camera, but Marcus asked us to come up here, so pardon my casual attire, but I think Linda would have been okay with that somehow. We were planning on actually celebrating Grandpa's 90th birthday, which I just did, and we were out of the country, and we were going to do a second celebration, but anyway, there's grief now, and sometimes that grief flows over us in waves. Knowing this from losing both my parents, it wafts over you, and it's good to let it through and let it out, and it's a healing thing. As they say in Australia, where I spent my formative years, everything's better after a good sit down and a cry. And it certainly is. But soon that grief is replaced, for many of us, with the hope and joy that this separation is only temporary. Because you see, Linda had a relationship with our Creator. Jesus was her Savior. And He has welcomed her into His embrace for all eternity. That soul of hers is with Him. But why now? Why so young? Many of us are asking why bad things happen to good people. And in Linda's case, I don't think we'll ever know. Perhaps her body was tired from living life at full throttle, which I think she certainly did. And overall, this world is spinning out of control. And we all make bad choices, and sometimes those choices negatively impact others. Pride and sin separates us from God, living a life apart from God. However, Linda believed and wrestled with God. Certainly believed in Him. Perhaps that's why Jesus came to this earth 2,000 years ago, so that He wouldn't have to debate Linda Castillo.
Amen.
So she wrestled with God. It wasn't that she doubted. She just wanted to know. The Bible says if you seek Him with your whole heart, you will find Him, and she certainly did find Him. So one more thing I'd like to share with you. Christine and I were blessed to have recently returned from the Holy Land, which was an amazing experience. And if you ever, well, don't if you ever, just make the choice and go, because it's many of you that have read the Bible, it brings it to life in 3D. Psalm 23 is often shared at times like this, and our guide on that trip shared it from a shepherd's perspective, from David's perspective, who was a shepherd. And I'll just throw in some of the things that he said as I read through it. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. And as we drove down towards the Dead Sea, we looked off to the right to these barren hillsides. And he said that when it rains, these hillsides come alive with green grass. And so those are the green pastures that David was referring to, and it's so important for a shepherd to be able to feed his flock. And so those are little miracles that happen when the rains come. And he leads me beside quiet waters. Quiet waters. Sorry, the Australian accent coming out every once in a while. But when it rains in the desert, there's flash floods down the gullies, but they pool in the bottoms of the valleys, and that's where the shepherd can water his flock. He can't water them in the flash floods that are swept away. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Back then, there was a road from Jerusalem to Jericho, and it was extremely dangerous with robbers and lions and bears, no tigers. And it was deep, so that was the comfort. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The rod is a device for correcting, it guides us through the road of life. Sometimes God corrects us and disciplines us when we leave the path. The staff is there to lean on, to rest on. So these are things from the shepherd's viewpoint. You prepare a table before my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. The good shepherd protects his flock. He puts oil on the foreheads and the noses of his flock to stop flies from landing and laying eggs and causing fatal illnesses. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Life is short. Life can be a lot shorter than we expected it to be. So cherish your loved ones. Make the most of your time here on earth. And I would personally encourage you to seek the Lord. And if you do with your whole heart, you will find him.
Well, to kind of follow up on that, life is precious. And it's sweet. And it's way too short. But it's a blessing. We're not promised tomorrow. And I'm grateful to be able to be here. We thought we were going to spend time this weekend, but Marcus will leave for another purpose. But it's a blessing to be able to be here. Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 says, "There's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent, a time to speak, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace." You know, there are a lot of opinions about God and about death and about heaven, and we all come from different backgrounds, and we've all heard things and kind of formed our own opinion. But I want to share with you using our standard, and that's the Bible. And the reason I'm doing that is because Marcus confirmed what we already knew to be true, that Linda had a personal relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So I want to share with you from our perspective and her perspective. You know, it's pretty reasonable to say that Linda touched your life in some way because you're here today. And as a matter of fact, if you've ever had a conversation with Linda, you never had to wonder where she stood. She was going to tell you, and a lot of times with determination, but mostly with love. And even when you didn't want to hear it, she told you what you needed to hear when you hear it. And that's someone that really loves you. She was pretty immovable. Once she made up her mind about something, she was dead set to go do that. So my Aunt Linda definitely touched my life. She was about 15 years older than me, so she was a cool aunt. You know, she drive a cool car, and she could pick out cool clothes, and you know, she was like the hip aunt. But besides those things, you know, she really instilled some jewels to me as a child. And I don't remember the exact time, but I remember being in the car with her, and she just saying to me, Christine, just never let jealousy get the better of you. Always beware of jealousy. And I thought, well, what in the world is she saying that to me for? Because I was, I don't know, maybe 11 or 12. I had not experienced anything where I was going to deal with jealousy. But that was a seed in my heart that helped me decide to be a better person and to not let jealousy dictate my attitude, my actions. And I treasured that. I treasured that. So in a lot of ways, she was my hero. I would come spend summers. My dad and Linda were brother and sister, so a lot of times I'd come spend the summer with my cool Aunt Linda. And she dated Marcus for a long time, and we got to do a lot of things together when I was in high school. You know, I remember her telling me the first time she met Marcus, she'd known him for a little bit at law school, and finally she just got fed up because he didn't ask her out. And so she said, you know, are you going to ask me out or what? And he was walking and fell off the side of the curb. Whether it really happened that way or not, I don't know. But anyway, so after that he was smitten, and I think he was probably smitten before. I think he probably noticed her. But anyway, so she adored Marcus, and they dated for a long time through law school, and so we had I hope you'll just humor me in some of these stories. I came one summer, and I think, anybody remember Hurricane Elena? It was like 1982, if I got that right? 85? Okay. Well, I was visiting. Now, I don't know if you remember the little Datsun, not even Nissan, Datsun 280ZX, copper color that she used to drive. So I was staying with her, and she had a second floor apartment on the water. And we knew there was a hurricane, but we thought we were going to ride it out. So in the middle of the night, they come through with bullhorns, and they're like, get out, get out. And so she's screaming. She's trying to get the dog. If you remember her dog, December. So she's got the dog, and she's got me. And Marcus was going to meet us at Auntie's. I had a 90-some-year-old great aunt, Auntie M, smart as a whip, forever. And she was in downtown St. Pete, and he was going to meet us there. Well, something happened. He didn't have a lot of gas in the car, and every gas station was closed. He had no gas, so his car didn't have gas. So she's all upset. Marcus, you have gas in the car. So we end up, 4 people now. I think if it was 85, I was 17. So Aunt Linda, claustrophobic, so she wasn't going to do anything but drive the car. And my 90-some-year-old great aunt was going to obviously need to sit in the passenger side because there was no back seat in a 280ZX. It was a hatchback. So we got the dog, and we got Marcus, who's like this tall in comparison to me. So he's like straddling in between the 2 seats with his head on the dashboard. And he's laying on the back. And then I'm like squished trying to give him room, and the dog's barking the whole time. And we're stopped on the bridge for 2 hours because all the traffic stopped on the bridge for 2 hours. That was crazy. Anyway, needless to say, we made it through the storm, but that was just, you know, one of those experiences that we kind of got ourselves into. And it was crazy. I had never rode out a hurricane quite that bad. And they took all the tape from the windows and made it into a ball, and I had it for years. It said Hurricane Elena, and we all signed it. And you know, so we got into some crazy things like that. But you know, I have those experiences and those really fun memories. So she loved that little dog, December. I remember when she brought him home, and he, it was December. That's why she named him that. And he was running across the highway, and she stopped and got him, and he was all full of, you know, he was a poodle, so his fur was all filled with all the little briars and stuff, and he was just in bad shape. But I don't know how 20-some years he lived, and he was not a puppy when she got him, maybe 3 or 4. But she loved that dog. Oh my gosh, she would cook chicken and rice for that dog. When he got older and had no teeth and had to gum that food, grind up a baby grinder. So anyway, my point being, she loved completely. She didn't just sort of kind of love. If she loved you, she did everything within her. Even that little dog, Uncle Marcus, Justin and Brendan. So yeah, in a lot of ways she was my hero. You know, she didn't have the easiest life. Her mom passed away when she was only 3. And she was living on her own. I think she was 17 when she was living on her own. She found a 1-room apartment. She washed dishes in the bathtub because that was where there was in the apartment to wash the dishes. She worked at a job and she put herself through college. And you know, she wrestled with God. You know, God, life's hard. Right? How all these things happen. Jeremiah 29:11 to 14 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek for me with your whole heart. I will be found by you, declares the Lord." And I believe my Aunt Linda struggled because I saw her my whole life. God, why do you let these things happen? Why do people get hurt? Why do people treat each other badly? And yet, her faith never wavered. She questioned, and she asked God. I think that's okay. God's not afraid of our questions. We have some of hard questions, and that's okay. So she put herself through college, and then she put herself through law school. And you know what? As a young girl, she was my hero because life dealt her some really hard things. But you know what? She just decided that instead of making an excuse, she was just going to rise above it. And not only that, she was going to excel at it. I think it compelled her. And instead of finding reasons not to do something, she put her mind to it, and she did it with excellence. So she's my hero. You know, Linda loved justice. There was right and there was wrong. And yet, you know, sometimes the world doesn't allow us to have the luxury of having all the time just things happen. So she, you know, she wrestled with God. Why do divorces happen? And why do death happen? And and then Marcus and Linda had their first son, and they named him Justin, which means justice. She was very proud of that, Justin. She wanted me to know that your name meant justice. Because even in desiring justice, I believe she had mercy. Because she knew she couldn't fix it all. She wanted people to do the right thing. She was merciful. She wanted to, protect you from everything and not have anybody say any bad words to you or correct you or do anything wrong. And, that's just not reality. For her, she just really wanted to shelter you. And I think in so many ways, even though the world still allowed bad things to happen in your life, because that's just, life's hard sometimes, she still sheltered you, and she helped teach you to make wise choices and to become an awesome young man that she was really proud of. And then, she was so excited that you were going to be born. She really was, and she loved you completely. And then a couple of years later, Brendan was born, and we lived in a different state, and we started getting pictures, and there was so much excitement with this other new baby, and Marcus and Linda, she thrived on being a mom, and they were kind of doing the family thing, and the boys went to Scouts and Royal Rangers, and they played sports, and graduated from high school, and went to college, and she just loved being your mom. And Brenda, she shared with Paul and I how proud she was of you for following a dream. You went out for a little bit to LA to try to figure out if you wanted to pursue acting, and she supported you in that. And she was so excited about your writing. She shared with us a little bit about how proud she was that, kind of like her, you're like trying to figure out why things happen, and you want proof, and you want, I think in a lot of ways you were a lot alike. She didn't understand you, and yet she totally understood you. She was so proud of you, and would share some of the things that you were writing. So I hope you'll pursue that. I know I should be proud of you for that. So anyway, Paul and I married, and I'll try to speed this up, but I don't think anybody verbalize their joy for us more than Linda, because Paul and I quickly met 17 years ago and almost got together but didn't. Neither one of us ever married. We lost track of each other, and we got married 2.5 years ago. And I know my Aunt Linda watching my life was like, well, yeah, God, why can't my niece find somebody, who do you have for her? And yet she came to our wedding and she saw, because timing's perfect. It's not always our timing. And she was so happy for us. She celebrated with us. So if you had pain, she grieved with you. If you had joy, she celebrated with you. You guys know this, because she always part of life. So Paul alluded to the fact, or actually shared the fact that we just came back from Israel. We were going to share our trip. Linda could not wait for us to come back and share about our trip to Israel, and I was so excited to come and talk with her about it. She said, I wish I could go, and she said, I can't wait to get back. And anyway, I think she'd be okay if I shared a little bit with you about what our trip was. So again, to talk about the fact she struggled with God. God, why do you allow things to happen? And yet, Paul and I got to go to Israel. We walked on the streets where Jesus walked. We saw history. We saw proof that the things written in the Bible really are true. They happened a long time ago. We can't relate to some of it, but it's true. So basically, when you go to the land of Israel, it confirms God everywhere. And first of all, we got to ride on a boat on the Sea of Galilee. That's where Jesus called his first disciples in John 6. We went to Capernaum, which is where Jesus lived for 3 years. I don't know if you've gone to Sunday school and heard the story about the lame man and his friends brought him to Jesus, but there were so many people at the house they couldn't get to him. So his friends crawled up on the roof, and they cut a hole in the roof, and they lowered him down. And Jesus said, get up and walk. Take your mat and go home, and I forgive your sins. We went to that place. We saw it. There's archaeological proof that that happened. We also went to the pool of Bethesda, Bethesda, Maryland. Jesus healed a lame man there. That's in John 9 in the Bible. It's amazing to me. This man was lame for 38 years. And he would lay by this pool of water because people believed that when the wind stirred the water that there was healing. So he was hoping someone would help him get in the water. But every time he went to go, somebody would get there before him. And Jesus walks up one day and he says, get up. And he literally got up and he took his mat and he walked. Jesus healed this person, and there's not just the Bible, but there are other proofs that this really happened. And can you imagine being lame for 38 years and Jesus says, just get up? How many of us hurt and are pain? Sometimes in this life we don't get healed. Why? God, why not? And then another place we went, the pool of Siloam, where Jesus put mud on a blind man's eyes. He'd been blind since birth, and he saw it. We went to that pool. We put our feet in that water. So, amazingly, we went to a tomb that just recently has been uncovered that is probable site of where Jesus was buried. And the reason that they found it is someone owned the land, and they went to dig for a well, and they found a cave. So they were like, oh, we have to contact the government. They got to come look. Well, they started looking at it. It was a tomb. The exact description in the Gospels of what the tomb looked like, and it wasn't like every other tomb because it had to belong to a wealthy man. And that's exactly what Scripture tells us. A wealthy man came and took Jesus' body, and we went to that tomb. It's empty. Whether that's the exact tomb that Jesus was in, we don't know. But it was empty. So I understand from Marcus that Linda asked the paramedics to take her pain away. You know, the gospel has good news of hope, and I want to share that with you again because this is what I believe Linda would have wanted me to share with you today. You know, we can't really comprehend where she's at. But Scripture gives us a little bit of insight. Revelation 21:4 says, He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. There will be no more pain. For the old order of things has passed away. Scripture also tells us that when we know the Lord, that someone dies before us, that we'll see them again. 1 Thessalonians 4:13-17. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death. So you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. If we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him, according to the Lord's word, we tell you that we who are still alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep, which Linda's fallen asleep before us. For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and who are left will be caught up together in the clouds. There's a condition of all this. We think sometimes, I can be a good enough person and I can go to heaven. That sounds good, and I think sometimes we wish it was true, but Jesus said about himself, "I'm the way and the truth and the life. No one can come to the Father but by me." And I'm sharing this with you because this is our truth for Paul and I, for Marcus, for Linda. So life is precious and it's sweet. This life on this earth is way too short. None of us expected to be here today. But Linda tried to make the most of every opportunity. She loved completely. She forgave greatly. If she believed in something, she was committed to it 110%. So if anybody had a reason to struggle with life and to ask questions, she did. And she resolved that, and I think now she sees fully what she believed on this earth. She's standing before the throne of God. No more pain, no more crying, no more hurt. And it hurts us because we can't see her right now, but we have hope that we will see her again one day in heaven. So thank you for letting us share. Marcus is going to come and share, and thank you for indulging me to share some stories.
Good afternoon. I never thought I'd be doing this, so you'll indulge me. I had originally intended to write this speech out that would be eloquent or thorough and all that. What ended up happening was last night I got my first night's sleep in about 4 nights. So what I'm going to say to you is going to come from my heart rather than a writer's pen, and I hope that will be okay here. So, what I will say will be an expression of my love for Linda, which is complete. It's complete love. Linda was the foundation of my life for over 30 years. You already heard Paul and Christine talk about her, and I would just echo so much. But it was a beautiful person, beautiful outside and inside. I sometimes say that she was a Farrah Fawcett lookalike. Well, until I realized that Farrah Fawcett was actually a Linda lookalike. She was fiercely protective. She was passionate. She was unafraid, as we all know, to speak her mind. She was astronomically generous. She loved life. She loved completely. She taught me the true meaning of love. Linda was born in Steubenville, Ohio in 1951. Kind of interestingly, she was born in the same hospital that my father interned in. So we sort of fantasized a little bit about that, where, she had possibly. I guess we'll continue to wonder, but I do know that he did deliver one of her best friends. Very interestingly. She grew up in Weirton, West Virginia, and Toronto, Ohio, along the Ohio River. As Christy alluded to, she did not have it easy. She lost her mom when she was 2 years old. And I believe that early loss taught her to reach out for love. And in that process, because it was within her to do so, she returned that love. Linda did have an incredible work ethic. She learned early to be a committed person, committed to work, committed to doing what was right. She worked 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. Prior to law school, she became an editor at the St. Petersburg Times. She did have a love of writing. She was very, very, very intelligent person. After high school, Linda moved to St. Petersburg, where she, continued to work hard. But she did value education. She went to St. Petersburg Junior College, the University of South Florida, and eventually to Stetson Law School. In fact, I met Linda at the LSAT test, which sometimes embarrasses me a bit, true. And that day, Linda brought her dog, December, her rescue poodle, with her in the car. It was in the hatchback, so it was cold, so it was okay. So after the test, I went out to, she introduced me to December. And, I had a feeling then that this dog was going to figure into my life for a while. And that turned out to be the case. Linda and I became classmates at Stetson Law School. And, as Christine said, I was ridiculously shy at that point. I have to remember that a bit. And the story about falling off the sidewalk is true. She did have to, she's working 3 jobs at the same time, and she asked me out on my first date. She takes me out to Burns Steakhouse. Working 3 jobs, crazy. So, I did eventually, after a couple of years, muster up the courage to ask her to marry me, and we took December on our honeymoon to San Francisco to Seattle, 2-week drive. We did that, and and it was a wonderful moment. He did pass away a few months after that, but God has His timing, and it coincided with Linda becoming pregnant with Justin, almost exactly at that point in time. It was amazing timing. So, we began our family. My boys, Linda, very, 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 very much a super mom. And I would like to say that my boys, the good qualities of my boys, I think reflect Linda. They totally reflect Linda. Justin is my oldest. And as you can see, he is in the Army, he went to West Point. And I find it interesting that as a young man, as a boy really, he was actually sort of pacifistic. Okay? He was a very gentle soul. As a matter of fact, he was a vegetarian for over 10 years. Okay? And as I fast forward now, I would tell you that he has the authority to call in airstrikes and naval ship fire. And he can nail your butt 10 miles away with a mortar shell. So as Christine said, he is a justice seeker. He does love justice. He is a gentle soul. And then we have Brendan, who I sometimes refer to as Linda Jr. As you heard, Justin stands for justice, and Brendan stands for strength. Brendan is Mr. Honesty, and I would say in a different sort of vein of these. And sometimes Linda, to be honest, didn't have a brain mouth filter. I'm going to share a couple things about Brenda that I hope no one takes offense with one of these stories, but it began it shows you that we laughed a great deal in our family life. You know, one story I can recall about Brendan as a young boy, we had a little boy who lived temporarily next to us, and he was a little bit of a bully. So Brendan, at all of 2 years of age, he doesn't like that I'm doing this, but hopefully forgive me someday. But I remember this kid, he was a bully, and I remember him at 2 years of age picking up this kid and saying, I don't particularly care for you. And then we have our other story. And please, if I offend, you'll forgive me hopefully. But we love North Carolina. We love to go. And if you've ever been, Cherokee, North Carolina is, of course, where the Cherokee Indian Reservation is. And it was special to us. So we had visited Cherokee, and you know, their boys were inspired by all this memorabilia. And so we were kind of driving on the parkway, the Ridge Parkway, and it was getting all inspired, and said to the kids, you know, we need to come up with Indian names. Telling, you know, Brendan in particular, Brendan, you need to come up with a name for your brother. How about like something like Chief Shiny Eyes or Chief Stillwaters? And Brendan, now, no more than 4 years of age, said, hey Justin, you know what your name is? Your name is Chief Little Penis. This is true. And I'm glad to say that both boys have grown up. You know, Linda was a spontaneous lover of life, and before last night I asked two of her friends, I don't know if they're still up to this, you tell me if you're not. Sue, are you up to it? If you're not, that's okay. Yes. You'll try. You know, she, you know, I'll look at something if I'm going to come up. I want to introduce you, you know these folks. This is Susan Carpenteri and Terry Chapman, who shared our life in different ways. And Linda was one to like do spur of the moment type of crazy adventures. And you know, Sue, I mean, if you have any things that come to mind, you know, I mean, why don't you say it if you can?
Okay. Well, I'll start with the last thing that we ever did together, and that was I shared a healthy cookie recipe with her. Well, if anyone that knows Linda knows that she likes healthy things. So this is a gluten-free cookie, and it called for ripe bananas. That was the basis of the cookie. She spontaneously said to me, let's make them now. We had to go to 5 grocery stores looking for ripe bananas. That's okay. Love her. And that's what that cookie recipe kind of reminds me of her entire life, is that because she was passionate. She was passionate about healthy things and wanting good things for her family, her boys especially. And she would go to any length to get that for them. And she put so much love. It was passion. It was love. And when you think of all the ingredients that go into something, it's not just the ingredients, it's the love that goes along with that. And the funny spontaneous thing we did is we started splitting the batter. We made it the first way, and then we came up with a better way. We're going to make it better. We're going to improve the recipe, so we'd add chocolate chips. That improves a healthy cookie. And then we came up with, well, we'll chop some nuts up in it. You know, who cares if there's a little fat from the nuts, because nuts are so tasty. And she loved nuts in her cookies. And then she decided dates. Dates are her thing. She loves dates, and she added dates. The funny thing with this is these cookies came out and they looked really odd, quite odd. I don't know if you've ever made a gluten-free cookie or not with a friend. They're quite odd. Marcus comes home from work. I'm just so proud of these healthy looking, healthy cookies.
I never did.
I don't remember the name either.
It's not a, yeah.
Marcus picked up the cookie and said, "What is this?" Well, she was delighted that she was able to make them warm. She called me and just laughed hysterically that, our efforts, Marcus thought was quite comical. That's just one story I'd share, but maybe Terry wants to share something.
Well, I was a beneficiary of getting to go on one of Linda's adventures, Linda and Marcus and Brenda. And Linda and I were in the sag wagon, well, Brenda and Marcus
Let
were.
me tell you what I did, and I'll put some on. So about 2 years ago, I had this brilliant idea that Brendan and I would cross the state on bicycles. In fact, one of my friends, this is the second time I've done this. Okay, so I decided to have a Fiesta. That's, so we did it again. And Terry, as she indicated, wants the support for that. So that's
We drove the sag wagon, and we were supposed to be able to go from place to place around as we went, antique shops and everything. Well, that's not the way it turned out. It turned out that they had 5 flats, at least 5 flats. I thought it was 7, but flats, one trip. So, and then one day it was around lunchtime, and we went to, it started to rain. Well, okay, we looked around, what's here for shelter? Pawn shops? No. Bars? No. A wannabe 7-Eleven? And so I said, no, where can we go? And I looked up, oh, there's a TA. Well, I got to introduce the Castillo family to their first truck stop. It was hysterical. They had none of them had ever been there. So she decided, well, it was kind of really late morning, so we were going to order breakfast. And they didn't have Eggs Benedict. If you've ever been to a truck stop, you would know there's no Eggs Benedict. There's no poached eggs. It's straight fried eggs or scrambled, and that's it, with bacon and potatoes and a lot of grease. So as we're sitting there waiting for our order to come, Linda hears this. She goes, what? The announcement came over the speaker. Trucker number 47, your shower is ready. She goes, what? And I said, well, these truckers are on the road a lot, and they provide showers for them here. And they just take a number, and they go and take their showers. Well, why don't they take their showers in a hotel room like normal people? Because they live in their truck. This was, I got to introduce her to a totally new area of life that she had never heard of. But we ended up, they finished the trip, we got over to Fernandina Beach and had a wonderful afternoon and evening there. And it was, I'm so glad I had that opportunity. But one thing I do want to say is that if you look in the dictionary under the word generous, persistent, tenacious, you'll see Linda's name. Thank you.
We could go on and on talking about fun times. I've got a list here, but but I want to focus also on some deeper stuff from that too. As Christy told you, Linda deeply loved God and was a Christ follower. Okay. And I deeply cherish that her family was baptized together. Linda did have a real faith. She didn't just phone it in. She did experience a lot of pain in her life. And she saw it reflected in the face of others. And, you know, she did question God. She did ask continually, why God? And my memory of Linda is that she formulated a response. And that response was that she reflected Christ's nature in her personality, in her life. She modeled forgiveness and reconciliation. She modeled generosity. She modeled unconditional love. Linda displayed all these qualities in our marriage. I was far from the perfect husband. She always forgave me. I seen how completely she loved me. You know, I've said to a couple people that as you go through life, we do ask why. And it is sometimes only in the life's rearview mirror that we figure it out, that it finally makes sense. And this doesn't make sense to me right now at all. But I will seek an answer. I may never get an answer, but I will seek it and try to find providence, you know. Because the Bible does say there is providence in the fallen spirit. I want to say that Linda's death should not and will not be in vain. I want to tell you two things initially, and that is that I was very happy to know, to find out the day she passed away, that as an organ donor, she gave sight to someone the day she died. There's someone in this life that has their sight back. That gives me a lot of comfort. I also want to tell you that at some point in the future, I feel moved to start a scholarship fund for her. And then I'll think about that and we'll figure out what to do. But I want to memorialize her in some way because she had such a tremendous work ethic and she valued education so much. So I'm committing myself to do that. But I do want today, I want this moment to be a point of rededication to show that our life is not in vain. I'm going to rededicate myself to being a better person. I invite you, all of you, all my friends and family here to do the same. I want to say to each of you that today is a fresh chance to forgive. It's a fresh chance to begin the process of reconciliation. Today is a chance to reach out to the forgotten. It's like Linda reached out to a stray animal and raised him like family. Time to reach out to a struggling child or a struggling teenager. Today is a chance to give back. You know, I've said this to some of you all, and I will say it again. I am just completely lost. I'm just lost. I don't know what to do. Okay? I'm going to have to reconstruct Linda. And I'm asking Linda and God to speak to me from time to time as I walk the rest of my days. I'm asking them to speak to my voice. Linda had a nickname. Well, actually, she had a bunch of nicknames, but a lot of them ended in the word Belle. You know, in her earlier years, when she was kicking up so much dust, I called her Philly Belle, okay? And I called her Baby Belle or just Belle. You know, I had dreams of her being Granny Belle. And that dream's not going to be fulfilled. But I'm here to say that there is another role that she can now fulfill. And that she's my angel Belle. So, I'm going to stop babbling. I'm going to say to Linda that it's time to release you to God. And I can't wait to see you again, sweetie. Thank you, guys. I thank every one of you for being here. It really is helping. Thank you so much. And I think Justin might say something, and then anyone else feels like they feel obligated.
Welcome, friends, family, and loved ones. I wish we could be in our better circumstances. We're here today to remember and celebrate the life of my mother, Linda. First, I'd like to thank God for giving me an amazing 26 years with her. She truly was one of a kind. Anyone who knows my mom will tell you she is just full of compassion, kindness, and love, even for strangers. She knew we were in this life together, and she would always do her best to help someone else's life become better, or just brighten the day. My mom was the most stubborn woman I know. She knew what she wanted in life, and she would not take no for an answer. Just to give you a taste of her character, she moved to Florida on her own when she was 17 years old. It was never easy, but she worked multiple jobs and worked her way through college and law school, encountering numerous setbacks along the way, but never giving up. I could go on and tell you so many stories about my mom, but you get the idea. This is the type of character that would define the rest of her life. My mom was our backbone, our strength, and the glue that holds us together. She definitely had her hands full with my family and I. When I was a teenager, my father was diagnosed with cancer, and that was the first big hurdle that we had to get through as a family. But no hurdle was too big for her. Over the last few years of my life, my mom would guide us out of the darkness when life had us down. She always knew what was best for me. I'm pretty sure I drove her nuts calling her every single day my first year at West Point. Complaining and saying I was ready to leave, ready to do something else, but she knew what was best for me. She told me to stay at least 1 year and then see how I felt. 1 year turned into 2 turned into 3, 3 into 4, and graduation. When I was there, I was diagnosed with cancer as well. My mom, once again, was my light when life turned up. I am now stationed in Colorado. I just returned home from the Middle East in June. We came home earlier than expected, and I know at least part of that reason is so I could see her again. And I'm so thankful for that. She recently spent 3 weeks in Colorado with me, helping to settle me into my new apartment. I will cherish those memories for the rest of my life. My mom absolutely loved Colorado. When I get back, I'm going to take some of her ashes up the tallest, steepest, and most difficult mountain I can find. I'm going to spread them there. One of the things my mom will tell me when life got tough is to stay in motion. I promise you, Mom, I'll stay in motion for you.
Hi everybody, my name is Nancy Hallberg, and I'm a neighbor. I've been in the neighborhood for 20 years. I'm not used to speaking, but I was just sitting there and I just felt the need. I had to get up and say this. Linda and I were not what you call best friends, but we were acquaintances. I knew of her, but I have to share this moment. About 15 years ago, she was in a lot of pain about something personal, and I used to walk the beach a lot, and she was down there pacing and walking. I didn't know this lady very well except for slaving, but I knew she was in a lot of pain at the time, and I just listened to her. We must have been down there walking the beach for 2 hours. And I shared, because she shared with me, I shared something personal with her. But I couldn't get over how open and honest she was. So strong, like everybody that has come up here and talked. And I used to work for the county, and I volunteer over at the Walsingham Park. And I always saw Marcus and Linda walking Casey. And I'm going to miss her so much, the rest of everybody, and just felt the need to come up, and just moved that I needed to come up and say that, because I really didn't know Linda personal, but I want to say something to you, Brandon. Your mother loved you so much. She loved both you boys. But I told her one time, I said, don't give up on Brandon. Because you know what, Brandon? I'm going to tell you something. From what your mom shared about you to me one time not too long ago.
I was a lot like you. And I said, don't give up on me. I said, look at me. My life changed tremendously. I turned my life around. But your mom loved both boys very much. And Marcus, she loved you from the bottom of her heart. Thanks.
Some of you might know me. I'm one of the chaplains at Bay Pines VA Hospital. And I would like to share a few thoughts with you today, especially in light of all that I've heard. I appreciated everything everyone here has had to say so far. The first thing I'd like to ask is, how many of you know what you were doing 37 years and 8 months ago today? January 14th, 1976. Nobody remembers? Okay, let me tell you what I remember. I was recently discharged from the military, served my time as a crew chief in the Air Force. As my brothers in the Army call it, Air Farce, okay? Came home to Northern Illinois and found the girl of my dreams. Her name was Linda. We dated for 2 years. Her father and mother begged her not to marry me. Dump that guy. You know why? Because I'm from a family of 20 children. Midwest farm family, okay? And her mother and father said, Linda, he's going to want to get married and have 20 kids. We want 20 kids. And we joked about it a lot and stuff, but we set a date to get married. March 10th, 1976. It was her grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary and her parents' 25th wedding anniversary. Linda was 22. But on January 14th, 1976, 2 months before our wedding, I was out ice fishing at Farmer's Pond, fishing for carp, okay, with one of my brothers, and we were singing along with the radio. Breaking Up is Hard to Do, Neil Sedaka song. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
If you heard us sing, you'd knock us out, okay? But what happened, we were singing along, and all of a sudden the radio went dead. And it was one of those old transistor radios, so I walked over and shook it, you know, and came back on and said, oh, we got some sad news out of Warrenville today. Linda Bruxer was shot to death this morning. She was my fiancée. I was in shock. My brother and I hopped into our pickup truck and drove home. Went to Linda's house, and there were police cars there, and Linda's family had all come together. A guy walked into a grocery store where Linda worked, and he wanted to shoot somebody. He went after a pregnant woman, yelling, 2 for 1, 2 for 1, and he shot the pregnant woman in the back. Everybody ran away. Linda went over to see if she could help. The pregnant woman soon died. The baby died within her. And as Linda was trying to console her and comfort her, the man grabbed her by the hair and shot her in the face because she dared to get involved. Thank God Linda died instantly. But it was 37 years, 8 months ago today. When we talked the other day, Marcus, you know, and it was the 14th of the month, and I knew, I said, okay, I'm going to be there. I share that with you because her death that many years ago still affects my life. It sent me off to a seminary a year and a half after she died. Because I told my parish priest that then, who was going to do our wedding, but then had to do Linda's funeral. He was in tears at her funeral. And what happened, when he asked me what I thought, what I felt, I said, the day I die and meet Christ face to face, there's going to be a fist fight. And he was like shocked that I would say that. And like one of you said, I want to know why. Why do these sad things happen? She was the most loving, beautiful person, still affects my life all these years later. And I share that today because she, like Linda here, I met her once, but I still remember meeting her. I love the story about the dog, okay? When I was a child, raised in pig farm country, I had a pet pig that I kept in the house until he was 225 pounds. My parents said, get him up, get him up. And when he died, the priest in my hometown had a funeral for him. And I was in tears. I was 9 years old, and I asked the priest, is Oscar in heaven? Do pigs go to heaven? And he had the perfect answer. He said, Tommy, I never knew a pig that sinned. And then he read from the book of Genesis. Why did Noah put animals on the ship before people? And that's something I think about to this day. But I share these stories with you. I got a couple more stories I want to share real quick here. I grew up with somebody most of you know from Wheaton, Illinois. Who do you know from Wheaton, Illinois?
John Belushi.
John Belushi, hit the nail on the head. I grew up with John Belushi. John's been dead now a little over 31 years. And everybody knows how he died. But most people don't know how he lived. Heart of gold. Funny as could be. He was never vicious with his humor. He never mocked people. Now, when I first walked in here, what gave me a flashback to John Belushi, I saw a lot of people chewing gum. Any of you chewing Illinois homemade bubble gum? Hopefully not. Okay? What do I remember about John? He used to show up at our house right about dinner time. 20 kids, there's going to be food. He'd walk around the table and see what my mother had cooked, and if he liked the food, and then if he sat next to my dad, he'd start chewing Illinois homemade bubble gum. You know what it is? One of these babies. We used to say, hey, it's free, okay? If you ever see the movie Animal House, have you ever seen that? There's a character in there named Dieter, my last name. And that was to pay tribute to my mother and father. I still cannot chew gum, though, I'll tell you that. We had an incident here at Bay Pines, and maybe, well, it wasn't on the news. The family asked that it not be on the news. But a mother and father came to be with their boy. Their boy was having surgery. And they were pretty worked up about it. He was having a major surgery. You know why they were worked up? Their boy is 87. The dad is 108. The mother was 107. And what happened is, I asked them, what do you credit your long lives to? They're in perfect health. And the mother says, don't eat or drink anything out of a can. Eat everything fresh and do this and do that, and okay. And then the dad, who I had just met, said, he too said, homemade bubble gum. He said, you chew that every day and you'll be fine. And the son was going, Dad, shut up, man. I'm getting ready for surgery. I don't want to hear that. But everybody has a life story. And one of the things I'd like to say again about Linda, from what I've heard today, just from the chance that I met her, I'm never going to forget her. You know, she could say it like it is the way that I would describe her. And one of the things that I do, when I deal with a lot of sadness and death over at the VA, but also deal with a lot of good things that happen. And in my ministry now, I've been a priest 31 years. There's nothing I'd rather do than the ministry I'm doing with fellow veterans. I'm a Vietnam veteran. That in part led me to the ministry. When I've been asked to take any parish, I've never refused to help out anywhere. And the reason for that is some priests won't go to particular parishes. They don't want to be in that neighborhood. They don't want to do this and do that. One of the parishes that I served was in Joliet, Illinois, near my home area. What's Joliet, Illinois famous for? The prison. And that was the nice neighborhood, okay? Pretty tough town. What happened is one day in this parish school, had a young child, didn't look very well. And I questioned the teacher and I asked, do we need to call the doctor or what? And she said, I've talked to his parents, but they don't want nothing to do with it and whatever. Well, about 4 days later, he passed out in the classroom. We had to call the paramedics. He was rushed to the hospital and was diagnosed with acute leukemia. There was no hope. When you mentioned about Linda donating, giving sight to someone else, this boy was one who was all excited about dying. He told me on August 26, 1984, the day he was going to die. September 29th. And I said to him, come on, Brian, you're going to get better. Things let the doctors work with you. He stood on his bed, put his hands on his hips, as any kid from a 6-year-old child from a tough neighborhood said. And he went, listen, dork. He says, I'm going to get dead. And I said, well, why September 29th? He said, because that's the Feast of the Angels. I had to go back to my parish directory, my book, and look it up. What's September 29th? Feast of the Angels. I spent a lot of time with him and his family as he was getting ready for death, and his big thrill, as only through the eyes of a 6-year-old, he said, I'm never, ever going to have to do homework. And I was like, okay, God. You know. And on the 27th of September, 1984, he said, be here early. The last words he said to me. I went to the hospital on the night of the 28th at about 9 o'clock. He passed away at 10 minutes after 2 in the morning. At his moment of death, and this was on the news in Chicago. At his moment of death, he sat up in his bed and he went like that. And he looked at his mother and father standing there and his brother Tommy, who had just turned 8. He bowed his head and died right in front of us. The parents completely accepted his death. He's a kid that still affects my life. He'll be dead 29 years on the 29th of this month. And growing up in a family with 19 brothers and sisters, I remember dates, okay? Birthdays and weddings and all this. But that child taught me to have faith even in the most difficult of times. He helped me to cope with my fiance's death. And he made me realize that every day, as you said, Marcus, every day is a gift. You know, it's a small world out there. And we're here to take care of one another. What I would encourage all of you to do is if you have any notes or anything to give to Marcus or pictures, you know, I have in my office a picture of my fiance. And everybody goes, oh, look at her, yeah. You know why? Because she had the popular hairdo when we went to the prom in 1969. Remember what that hairdo was? The beehive hairdo. And I love that picture of her. But I share this with you because what it says in Scripture, as the couple mentioned at the beginning, you know, that faith makes sense. For me, the most important words in the entire Bible come from the Gospel of Luke, the 23rd chapter. As a child, I couldn't figure out why we called that day Good Friday. The horrific death of Christ on the cross. And what he said to the two that were with him being crucified is what warms my heart. One of the thieves said, remember me when you enter upon your reign, showing that he had faith. And the words that Jesus says back to him, this day you will be with me in paradise. On September 10th, Linda left this life. The weird thing is Linda was born July 26, 1951.
Yes.
I was born August 26, 1951, okay? And she died on September 10th. So on October 10th, I'm going to be ready. Okay? I share this with you because, again, it's amazing how a person's life can affect you forever. Continue to reflect on her life. Let her, if Marcus, if you ever need to talk, or if you ever need to talk, I've met you once before. Do you remember where? At West Point Military Academy. I went there, oh God, probably close to 2 years ago. And I remember your last name. I didn't get to talk to you, but I remember your name up there. I do a lot of traveling, so. And is the other name Brendan or Brandon?
It's Brendan.
Spell it.
B-R-E-N-D-A-N.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll remember that too as well, okay? Just so you know, if you ever need to talk, you can tell I like to talk, okay? I'll share stories with you. I'll show you pictures of Linda with her beehive hairdo, okay? But let your faith be your strength. And know that I thank God for people like Marcus and his family, for Linda. She will continue to affect my life until the day I see her again, face to face. Thank you, everyone, for putting up with me, okay?
Well, if you go ahead, we're going to play a song here at the end. If anyone else has anything to share, last chance. If not, we'll be meeting afterwards to share stories together. But as the song plays, I think we'll close now. And again, just let's just pray and as we go from here. Father God, we thank you for the life of Linda Castillo, and for the joy that she's brought into our lives, for the family that she raised, for 2 fine, strapping young lads, Lord. I just pray that you would fill their hearts with that peace that passes any understanding that we can make out of this mess, Lord, this life, this world. Give them strength as they go on. Heal their hearts. Heal Marcus's heart, Lord. He's, as he said, he's lost. We're all kind of lost at this moment. And Lord, as the song says, let there be no more weeping. And if there's anyone here that is struggling, anyone that doesn't know where they're going to be when they leave this vessel that you've given us to walk through this life in, Lord, just let them talk to me, my wife, or somebody. Talk to Marcus, Justin, Brendan. And Lord, let everyone go from here with no more regrets, no more hurt. Let us heal. Let us forgive each other, Lord. If we haven't talked with friends or family, Lord, let that be something of the past. Lord, time is short. Allow us to take every advantage of every minute that you've given us, Lord, to live these lives fully with joy and peace and goodwill to others, Lord. And in that goodwill to others, we find that joy, Lord. Just be with us now as we go from here. And we just thank you, Lord, for being here for this time. Help us to speak now with each other and share good memories, Lord. Just go before us today, we pray in Jesus' name. And thank you for coming. And just feel free to sit and enjoy the music. We'll have light refreshments.
Yeah.
Justin,
Yeah, that's okay. I know Linda did it pretty big with food. You know, I know one of the Milwaukee boys is here, and when Brendan had his Eagle Scout ceremony, we call it the royal wedding, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. So we got a ton of food. Please enjoy. Please, if you can, hang out and have some light. We'd be honored to spend a little more time with you. So I want to echo, I'm extremely appreciative that you're all here. So we love you. Thank you very much.
How are you? How's Shannon? We're good. Thank
Very nice, dear. I'm so sorry for your loss. Very special man.
You know, you're right. This is what I always remember. Even after here. What an exciting person. But, yeah. But everybody, I mean, you spoke right? That's what of course it's important. Your whole presentation. Yeah, that was excellent.
That's okay, that's what I'm saying, that's okay, I don't need 3 pages.
This was perfect. It really was perfect. She would have been pleased. Oh, she would have been. She would have been. We went to church and the boys were, yeah, he did real ages.
You expecting visitors?
You have company.
I do.
You do.
Why? Goodness gracious, good to see you.
Good to see you. How you doing?
Okay.
Coming up?
All right.
All right. Brought some other people.
Brandon, Justin.
How are you?
Oh, so good to see you. So good to see you.
This is my girlfriend Amanda.
I couldn't imagine you. Yeah. Brandon, huh?
Hey there.
Hang in there, you guys.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know who you are, but
This is my girlfriend. This is my friend Travis. I know. My friend Justin.
Couple good guys, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. Good to work with them.
Were you in the service too?
I used to be. I got out.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Thank you for coming up.
Oh yeah.
Come on in and make yourself comfortable.
If we get Diet Coke or something. It's good.
Help yourself
Jump in.
whatever got in there, Brandon. I really do. Listen, it's been a tragedy for the whole family. I couldn't believe. I can't help it.
It's okay.
Forgive me. Linda meant the world to me. Bless your heart. And
It's okay.
thank you all. Bye-bye.
She was pretty special to all of us, you know? It's a huge loss. Okay. You know, all of us have gone through
She's
this.
my baby.
You know, I was thinking this is the first time we've all been together as grandkids in one place at one time.
At least for a while.
Yeah, but I don't know that we've all been, like all 4 of us have been together.
Really?
I couldn't remember a time.
Excuse me, I can't help it
That's all
sometimes. Oh, God. Thank you all so much. Anyway. You all been a blessing to me, I'll tell you.
You too.
Y'all been a blessing to me. I treasure my family very much so. Everybody means something to me. You're not just a person, you're not just, you mean something. I've always been that way. My whole family's been very engrossed. Family. Maybe not outwardly, but inwardly. Right there, a good example. There's another good example. Hang on. Something we have to deal with. Something we have to deal with. Unfortunately. Seems like everybody at some time or other has a problem. Well, some simply have more than one problem. Yeah. Make the best of it, I guess. This young lady here has been a tremendous help to me and her husband, Paul.
Yeah. We just come over when we feel like it and knock on the door. We don't tell him we're coming.
I just come for the Pepsis.
Hey, we're going to dinner, come on. Or lunch, or whatever.
I'm sure glad you two boys were able to get home. What's your dad doing today?
He's just taking care of some stuff he has to do. He's going to Tampa later. Busy right now.
Well, did we get our glue job
We did.
completed?
It's all good.
Working on a little wood project
Yeah.
for you guys got here.
Yeah, Marcus's brother is going to have the family come over this afternoon.
Huh?
Marcus's brother, Eric,
No.
is going to have everyone come over this afternoon, but Brendan has a flight. He has to go home this afternoon before then.
I didn't want to leave so early, but I have class I need to get back into.
Yeah.
I just
Thank
missed
you.
4 days of class.
Thank you for coming by. Huh? So you-
I think he might want some gum.
You want
Is there
some gum?
enough stuff to drink in there?
I think so.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah, I asked everybody what they wanted.
take the reserve out of the cabinet over there and put it so to cool down.
Oh, okay.
So are you working on any projects? Any woodshop projects? No? Nothing started? Usually have something going.
Not exactly.
How does it feel to be 90?
Yeah.
It's just a hump in the road. We were all flooded here a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Wanted
Did
to-
you hear about the flooding in Colorado? It's pretty
Terrible out there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that near you at all?
That near where you are?
A little bit north of me. But still.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I know a lot of times you've told Paul some of the family history from England. Is there anything, maybe share a story with us about
Huh?
some of the stories that your dad told you about England, or some things that Brendan and Justin might not know, Matthew might not know? Or what you did in Weirton, or?
My dad, he worked in a coal mine. Over in England, they don't call it coal mine, they call it colliery. Colliery. You run a miner down under, a weighmaster at a mine. And the mine was like almost in their backyard, more or less, just a short distance away. Christine and Paul have been there and has pictures of the opening of this mine, right? Just a short ways from, like you walk out your backyard and go to work. How they, was there a railroad or something there?
Yeah, it was a
nearby
big rail yard there in the valley.
I don't know, I've never been there.
Well, yes, you have.
I was only a bit small, I can't remember.
Well, you were how old when you left? 2. Okay, that's what I thought.
Anyhow, my grandparents lived down below. It was on a kind of a slope. The grandparents, that area, the way I understand it, he owned the property, considerable amount of property around it. Anyway, Grandpa Beach. My dad never owned a car in his life. Didn't know how to drive. He would hire a car or a driver on weekends. Take my 2 sisters. I hadn't come along yet, but I heard about it. He'd take my 2 sisters on a weekend around to different castles and tours around to get where we can get to.
In England.
It's part of their education, growing up, history-wise,
Yeah.
But Dad seen to it that everyone had a little bit of background. He was oriented that way, and I think they followed down the line. My dad, my mother also, Auntie M. I don't know. Justin, have you ever meet Auntie M?
Yes.
Have you met her? I didn't know we had her.
I did too, actually.
Anyhow, she's a very nice English lady. Very English. Auntie M was quite an influence to me in many ways. She used to take me out, a little guy, around with her. She took me on the first elevator I rode by in the hospital. They had an elevator. It was an old-time elevator. He had a gate on it. He had like a freight elevator. And she was, anyhow, my dad only had 1 lung. The reason we came to this country, he was advised to come here because of the climate over there. He couldn't breathe very well. We came to this country, that was a big undertaking to give up your home and bring 3 children to a strange country, start all over again. That was, we used to talk about that. It took what we call gumption to make such a move. Anyhow, we went by boat. There were no planes, just at that time, no planes at all. We came by boat to New York City. We didn't go to Ellis Island. Dad had arranged somehow or other, I don't know. We never went to Ellis Island. We've heard about it. 7 days on the water. Majestic was the name of the boat. The boat.
Yeah.
Up and down. I guess my mother was very sick. Dad had a harness on me. I remember that. It had bells on it. Golden bells. You know, it's a harness. He didn't want to lose me. He's afraid I'm going to get overboard. Anyway, after we got to this country, he had it on the kitchen door for a long time.
So how'd they get from New York to Weirton?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Train, probably. Anyhow, I forgot what I'll tell you.
The bells on your harness.
Oh, yeah. Dad, my dad liked the flowers. He was good with flowers, raising the flowers. We had one time I remember 4th of July, a little dog came to our house. It wasn't a small dog. It was on the 4th of July. He was scared to death. Dad took him in and advertised in the paper and made calls about finding his dog, you know, for the owner to identify him and get in contact. Never did. But finally, one time, somebody did get in touch with my dad about this dog called Bobby. He lived in Tiltonsville, Ohio. I was across the river, across the Ohio River. This little dog was reclaimed by the previous owner. They promised me if they have a puppy, I'd get the first one. Well, that little dog come from Tiltonsville to where we live, across the Ohio River, and Tiltonsville was probably about 30 miles from where we lived. Now that dog made that journey. He was scared to death apparently from 4th of July fireworks. Bobby. Dad trains the offspring of this dog. We used to get newspapers from England, from my grandparents. They were pink colored paper. Dad had this, at that time there was no mail delivery. You had to go to the post office to get your mail. In the boxes, you had a combination. Dad had Bobby trained to take the newspaper. It was in a wrapper, like, and put it in the mouth. From the post office to where we live, which was about 5 or 6 blocks from the post office. And don't you ever dare take that paper out of that dog's mouth. That was his pride, just holding that newspaper. My dad was talented about it, doing a lot of things, among other things. Let me tell you, I'm going to change this note here. I'm going to tell you something happened. Just out of high school. Young. I was trying to make an impression on this young lady. We had a date. Eventually, we were eventually married. Anyhow, I have had this date at the Capitol Theater in Stouffville, Ohio, which is a neighboring town. Frank Sinatra was singing. Tommy Dorsey Orchestra.
Huh?
Oh, we had to go to see this on the weekend. When you go into the theater, it's dark, you know. In the seats, rows of seats, somebody here, you had to get up, you know, let them go by, come down the aisle. Well, apparently, I had to go to the restroom before we sat down. I took care of that. Well, we were sitting down. In a few minutes, the usher comes along and bring another party in. Come down the aisle, you have to get up like this to let them go by. In with the flashlight. Well, this lady was coming by in a great big dress, one of these flimsy things, lace or something, you know. Well, up like this, you know, I had it down, and my zipper was up, down, so like this, I snagged her dress. And he was standing there with a damn flashlight. Yeah, as soon as I'm sitting here, him standing there, a flashlight, look, and him
She still married you after that.
I don't think I'd ever heard that one before.
Oh.
Anyway, we did get married. You know what I'm talking about? We made it. That was in Steubenville, Ohio, at the Capitol Theater. Like I say, Frank Sinatra, you know who I'm talking about. And Tommy Dorsey, that was the first orchestra he started with. 11-piece orchestra, and he put on a good performance. But I'll never forget that.
What year would that have been? What
Do you
year?
remember what year?
That's been about 42, 43, something like that. I'm going to tell you another one. Not happened to me. I'm going to tell you a little joke. The area where we lived was kind of a mining area, coal mining, you know, little places. And they had a little country school, one-room deal, teacher. Well, come recess time, goes home to have your lunch. The teacher says, now, when you go home, take notice of everything you see along the way and kind of we'll have a conversation about it when you get back. Okay, so they all go home. They come back, and she accepted the kids and said, Johnny, what did you see? He said, well, he says, you know where the railroad track, we got to cross the railroad tracks. Get there? Yeah. Oh, this guy got hit with the train. Got hit in the ass with a train crossing the railroad tracks. She said, Johnny, that's a poor term to use. You should use the term rectum. Johnny said, Hal wrecked him, Hal killed him. I've had my too much story. This little girl that we lost together, and she meant so much to me. That whole family.
How about some stories about her?
Huh?
How about some stories about her?
Oh, yeah. Your mother was little. I was working. Christmas time. Saturday, on the main street, they had a store on Main Street. It was paid the gas bill, electric bill, furniture and everything. Well, at Christmas time, the radio station had a kind of a couple-hour program right on in the store windows. They invited all the little kids for interview. Well, your mother was interviewed by Santa Claus. She was sitting up on her knee, you know. Well, asked her what she asked. Wanted for Christmas and all this. She was telling Santa Claus everything she wanted to get. She says, wait a minute, I gotta go pee-pee. And he let her down, you know, and right now. She wouldn't have wanted to hold anything back, I'll tell you that. In the front window, in the glass window, on Main Street, the people outside watching, you know. See the windows like this, and the aisle like it comes in the store. Sidewalks full of people, and she's up there, and it'd be an interview.
Straight to the point.
The whole area, the whole town knew it. They had to go pee-pee. That's your mother. She was a darling, I'll tell you. My darling.
That's the only funny story about her?
Huh?
That's the only funny story about her?
Oh. Well, that's enough.
Okay.
I'm done in. Here's among them, some other got quite a history too.
Not about me today.
Don't we all have a history? Always.
You know, last night we were at Marcus's house, and it was nice because Brendan had a little drum, Marcus had a guitar, and kind of everybody there. I think Travis picked up a guitar at one point, and everybody just kind of passing around the instruments and playing, and Brendan played a really nice piece on the piano. So it was really a nice time to spend together with music, and he's got a good talent.
Yeah. See, my dad was musically inclined too. That's where he's got a little bit of that in him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Justin had too much music. He might have, I don't know. But I think Brendan's more musically inclined than what you are. But it runs in the genes. My dad and
Yeah, you sang in the choir at Code Presbyterian, didn't you?
oh yeah. In our living room, one time we had a piano and an organ in the living room. Well, Dad was an organizer, sort of. It's a series, Christmas time, for instance, we'd have a house full of people, and they all sing, and one would be playing the organ, and one behind, and Russell had the violin. That makes your own entertainment, you know?
Yeah.
It was different.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't snap on the TV back then?
Huh?
You couldn't hit the remote control and turn
No,
the TV
your
on?
mother, you know, first time we got the TV, she astounded me. She said she thought she couldn't believe that we just got a TV. She thought that you always had TV. We didn't always had TV. It just something in our life for us, in our life for us. Put some refills in there to get
I did.
cold?
I did.
I think you should tell him those stories your dad told about.
I don't know.
Come on, he would love it. Wait for Brendan to get back.
Actually, he probably would.
He would.
heard some pretty off-color things that he shared before. It's like, whoa.
It's been quite an experience, I tell you.
Yep, sure is.
Your mother would call me every night. She didn't call, your dad did. You two boys have been very well blessed. You had good parents. Very good.
I know the reason you have that golf cart out there is because you told her you were going to buy a motorcycle and she
Oh,
would
yeah.
let you have one.
I had no part of that. We on a motorcycle. Oh boy, what? She calmed me down in a hurry.
She let Justin get a motorcycle though.
She
It's
didn't
good.
let me.
He's got a pretty flash motorcycle.
You should see his snowboard.
Yeah.
Still looks good.
Inside joke. Have you seen a picture of my motorcycle?
Oh yeah. Probably.
You guys always this chatty, or was it a rough night last night?
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a limousine, isn't it?
It's a BMW.
Same thing. Did have this down here to
No, it's up in Colorado. Yeah.
How long will you be in Colorado?
About another year and a half maybe.
wow, that's something else.
Yeah, you like it?
Oh yeah.
We'll go for a ride?
I think that's why he was asking if you had it here.
Yeah.
Two-seater though?
Yeah, it was a two-seater.
Got
Tiny second seat.
got radio, TV.
No, no. No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. How fast have you been going on it?
How fast? Not that fast.
Yeah,
It goes
right.
around 200 though.
How do you know?
It'll go that fast?
Plenty fast, I bet
It's the
you.
fastest
Just
brushing
the
back in the
fastest
world.
brushing back.
Did you let Brendan drive it yet?
He doesn't know where we're at.
I want to get a motorcycle.
He's still alive.
How about you, brother? Do you have a bicycle?
I don't.
Huh?
I want to get one.
You do?
Yeah.
Good luck to you. 5 years and sold it for $50.
Paid $50 for a car.
That's a day.
What year was that?
Huh?
What year was that?
Well, that was a 29 Ford. This was in
Probably wasn't exactly
1950.
like
1950? Bought and sold it?
More like
Huh?
You bought and sold it in 1950?
No, I sold it in 52.
maybe even more money than that.
53 or something.
Probably
It's a pretty good investment.
Huh?
That was a good investment.
Oh, yeah. All kinds of stuff in the back end. Had a rumble seat.
Yeah.
You know what a rumble seat is?
Mhm.
It's where you toss the grandkids, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there were any grandkids yet, just kids.
Matthew, you're very quiet over there.
Well, yeah, a long night last night.
What time did it end?
2, sort of.
Sort of.
I mean, 4.
Yeah, I thought it was more like 4.
Wow.
Well, I mean, we tried to end it at 2, but it's more like, 4 or 5.
It keeps getting later and later.
Travis, are you the, excuse me, are you the young man that was in Washington D.C. as a
Page?
painter, what do they call him?
No, that's
Josh.
this is
Naraki.
from Josh.
Huh?
This is from
That's
Josh.
my friend Josh Naraki. Was a page in DC.
I can't hear you.
It was one of
That's my friend
Brendan's
Josh
friends.
Naraki. He was the page in Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not,
No, that's Justin.
that's another friend. Okay. It's just come to me, a correlation. No, you're a ex-serviceman.
That's correct. I used to be in the Army. Did that for a little while and now I'm out.
Weren't you in the military for a bit?
Huh?
So weren't you in the military for a bit?